inside team, not quite as much so. This year, the Collins twins come to mind as gone, and of course, Curtis Borchardt also gone early.
Mark Madsen, you think of Young, you think of
Tim Young.
I recall when you played Stanford, it was basically dealing with their size if you were trying to match up. Three-pointer for Josh Childress right on cue.
Well, Childress is one of those guys that does not fit into the mold of a Stanford powerful inside guy, although he is 6'8" and long.
Just underway here in Spokane, Washington. Josh Childress has knocked down a three for the only scoring early on. A little double team action underneath, and Little takes steps. It'll go the other way.
Well, Davis and Little inside are taking up the mantle left by the Collins twins and Curtis Borchardt. Not quite as big as those two, but solid. Stanford's had a great year.
Now, this is a team that was picked number 7 in the preseason in the Pac-10 Conference. Keep rejected by Little, double team, quadruple teamed under there, and a 3-second violation.
Well, if you are Stanford in preparation for San Diego, Jason Keep is the guy that you have to be concerned with. And immediately they triple team him inside, make it difficult on the big man. San Diego is a team that shoots well from the perimeter. Inside orientation on the part of the Cardinal.
Corey Belzer with a rebound for the Toreros. Delzell with the dump down to Keep, and he's fouled underneath. It'll go against Justin Davis, the junior from Berkeley, California. Keep is a transfer from Oklahoma State. Young man that went through a lot in his life personally, and Brad Holland thought, you know, it's worth a chance. This is his last opportunity to make it happen, and he's made the most of the opportunity. There's Blair. So both Jasons come up dry.
This is not a team that will intimidate the Toreros, however. West Coast Conference team, Gonzaga, of course, the most famous of that league's teams, won today. And the Toreros beat them in the West Coast Conference Championship.
Here you see Brad Holland. He's having to fend off questions about the UCLA opening, and I must tell you, I believe he's handling it well. He understands the questions going to come. He's one of many names being bandied about in Westwood.
Lucas Barnes with the basketball, Tim. More of a two-guard, but playing the point guard this year for them. Loddick, when he shoots well, that's when they win.
Matt Loddick, 38% from downtown, but he can beat you off the bounce as well. 5-0, and here's a steal. Barnes. Julius Barnes from Rowland Heights, California. 7-0 Cardinal. Just over 2 minutes gone by in Spokane.
Solid defense on the part of Stanford, one of their calling cards.
Well, Little is really giving Keep some trouble, and he's asking for a whistle. San Diego 0 for 4 with 3 turnovers to go with it. Childress, the angular one.
Oh, baby. Leads this team in rebounding at 6'8", about 140 pounds. Great start for Mike Montgomery's squad.
Steals leading the way for Stanford for easy buckets. Nine to nothing, Stanford with the lead, taking advantage of turnovers and poor shooting by San Diego. You look at the brackets in the South. Connecticut already a winner today over BYU. The winner of this game will advance into Saturday's second round against the Huskies. Mike Montgomery, 17 years. Insiders will tell you he's one of the best in the business, and for a period of time, anytime there was a job opening, his name was brought up. I think now he's really settled into the idea of being the Stanford head coach.
And they have a unique situation at Stanford with their jobs. Unlike many places, the coach will get tenure after this year. That's a very interesting proposition for him.
Full retirement and school for all of his children. at that point. And
high motivation to stay in Palo Alto.
Jason Keep finally gets the Toreros on the board. It's 9-2. And you may be asking, just what is a torero? It's a bullfighter.
A bullfighter?
Yes.
Oh! That's no bull right there.
Over the Matador defense. My goodness.
Stanford really looking good in this game. Clicking, playing solid defense. A push-off right there by Morris.
That's 2 on him. 2 early fouls against Roy Morris.
The lob pass, the elevation, and the finish. Coordinated effort between Little and Childress.
This is the first time I've seen Josh Childress in person. I've seen many of his games, obviously, during the course of the regular season, but like those of you at home via the television, he really visually, if you look at his face, that foul on Justin Davis, if you just took a shot of Josh Childress, you'd say he looks a little like Keith Wilkes. And his game is just as smooth.
And his hair is about 70s also.
Yeah, that's right. He's a throwback. Oh, for the days of White Shadow and George Gervin playing basketball.
The Iceman. Although Childress plays a lot better defense. Very strong defensive player. He uses his length to his advantage. So far, the Toreros struggling at the offensive end because of Stanford's pressure.
5 turnovers already committed by San Diego. Some nerves for this team debuting in the NCAAs. This is a completely different stage for this team, but you see the three-pointer taken and dribbled by Matt Loddick. Now the junior from Illinois who struggled mightily to get to this level of play. 6 out of 9 shooting for Stanford. Belzer with a dump down to Keep. In traffic, Keep loses it. Knocked away by Barnes.
They are doing a good job of crowding Keep. Not much room to operate.
Rebound by Corey Belzer. Outlet to Morris. Stanford really getting back defensively.
Keep your eyes focused inside on Blair and Keep. They are the chief weapons. One averaging 18, one averaging 17. They want to go inside.
That's another walk. And again, you may have a bump here or there, but I detect nerves for the Toreros early on.
No doubt about it. Deep shooting by Stanford.
A lot more Loddick. Tim Brando, Bob Wenzel, Leslie Maxey here in Spokane, 14-2. The Cardinal leading the Toreros. San Diego really struggling even launching a shot. They turned it over 6 times. Robinson giving it up to Loddick. And there's the dump down to Little. Not this time. Offensive rebound, pull down. And finally hauled in by Stanford's Robinson, but a foul. That'll go against Matt Delzell. Here's the third member of our broadcast team, Leslie Maxey.
Tim, San Diego was hit hard by the flu on Selection Sunday. Jason Keep got it, and so did Derek Stockhopper. Derek didn't make it. Jason lost 8 pounds, so you got to wonder if he looks flat, if that's one of the reasons why. Both of them were on IVs, and they really were suffering a lot, so keep an eye out on that.
Well, they were hoping that Stockhopper could get on a plane with some of their boosters and fans and get here late as Little hits. When you think about the fact that Stockhopper is not available, that's a big loss, Bob, for San Diego.
Well, he's a three-point shooter, and that would loosen things up inside for Keep. Right now, Keep is being crowded excellently by the team defense of Stanford. Outside shooting necessary, and Morris providing some right now for San Diego.
Roy Morris with his first basket. 12-point lead for Stanford.
Matt Loddick is perpetual motion out here. Catch and fire.
Delzell. The season really turned around for the San Diego team when they moved Delzell to the point. Not a natural point guard, but they've been able to make the most of it with him operating at that spot.
Well, he is not a penetrating guy. He keeps everybody in their proper rhythm, gets the ball where it needs to go.
Keep I don't know that he wanted to bank it, but you know what? The bank is open late in Spokane, 16-6. Jason Keep is now 2 out of 6.
You mentioned Dalzell. They had lost 5 straight games. We're in a big slump. Since he's been their point guard, they're 12-3.
Roddick again. Now Little just quicker to the ball, but that time he swatted it into San Diego's hands. Belzer. And that'll be a player control foul against the Toreros.
Well, Belzer does not know the geography of the floor right there. Bad read. A lot of white jerseys back, and he charged right into them. 4 white jerseys back, lowers the shoulder. It's an obvious foul. Better to pull up. Roddick is a high-energy guy. Belzer known more for his defensive and rebounding than his offensive prowess. Kind of a blend guy for Brad Holland's team.
Robinson off the nice dish. You know, Barnes with a very nice pass, an entry to make that one work for Nick Robinson.
Robinson showed good balance there. Did not over-penetrate and took what the defense gave him.
Lewis pops out. Off the front iron, Keith. And he took steps. Yet another turnover. Get complete NCAA tournament coverage with live updated brackets and the latest developments on the road to the Final Four. It's all at CBSSportsline.com or on America Online. Enter keyword CBS Sportsline.
Joe Kirchhoffer is in right now on the part of Stanford as Keith goes out. He's getting fatigued right there. He's being bumped by big people all the time. Rotation of Little and Kirchhoffer in the game for Stanford. That's a lot of body action.
Grunfeld picks up the foul. Dan Grunfeld, if the name sounds familiar, it should. He is the son of Ernie Grunfeld, who teamed with Bernard King at Tennessee in the 70s, part of the Ernie and Bernie show. Dan is a young man that had Stanford on his mind for a long period of time, really a basketball historian. Number 20 in white. Lewis rejected by Childress.
Thank you.
There's Ernie. On hand to watch his son play. Boy, I got to tell you, I saw him in his prime in college, and
so did I. I coached against him when they had the Ernie and Bernie show.
That was something else.
Bernard King and Ernie Grunfeld, we beat him there. I was at Duke at the time. We were lucky. Bernard was sick, I think.
Ray Mears era at Tennessee. Foul will go against Julius Barnes, a player control. San Diego will have it. Down a dozen. With just under 12 minutes remaining in the opening half. As you look at our game summary, Stanford has been dominant in this game, Bob Wenzel, and I still believe San Diego is trying to get the kinks out of the armor. They just don't appear real satisfied with where they are in this stage.
Well, what happens is Stanford is crowding Keep on the inside, and that's really taken a lot out of them. Keep is their main inside threat. So San Diego without a rudder right now.
Morris, who's playing with 2 fouls already, gets bumped. Grunfeld may have gotten him.
Well, Morris is a guy who can put the ball on the floor and score on his own. And that's what they need right now because Keep is not getting a lot of touches. He's on the bench right now. Nick Lewis in place of Keep, also 6'10", from Phoenix, Arizona. Nice player. But this guy right here, Morris, can put it on the floor and create some. That's what he needs to do when they're behind.
Look at the San Diego profile. This is University of, and it's a Catholic institution. Enrollment of just better than 7,000, and this is the 3rd tournament appearance, but for this group, after the 9 years with Brad Holland, their first opportunity, and this has been a long time and a long wait for them. Playing in a conference with a Gonzaga makes it tough.
And it's normally a 1-bid conference. This year, 2 from the West Coast Conference.
San Diego won the conference tournament on their home floor. Oh, the iron tantalizingly unkind to Childress. Gonzaga, by the way, was a winner earlier today, beating Cincinnati in the NCAA tournament. Lewis, too strong. Childress clears. Barnes a pull-up. This is the part of watching a Stanford team coached by Mike Montgomery that is so...
It's hard to put your finger on them, Tim, because they will come down and shoot early in transition like that, and then they will work the ball inside. They're quicker than you think. They're deceptively quick. And right now they're playing solid defense. As you mentioned, 7th out of 10 pick in the Pac-10 earlier in the year. Beat Arizona on Arizona's home floor, the only team in the country to do that this year. So they had winning tradition under Mike Montgomery.
Delzell with his first bucket. A 12-point lead for the Cardinal. I think you've got to give a lot of credit to Mike Montgomery because most coaches do what they do all the time. And he's really playing now his game, coaching his game to the level of talent he has. And Loddick now is 7 points in the game. Lewis, every shot is really altered by Stanford, and you can see that San Diego is rushing their shots.
Well, Barnes and Loddick in the backcourt is really a dynamite backcourt scoring-wise, and Childress is a terrific passer, assist guy as the small forward. And Stanford very solid at this end.
Mike McGreen is coming to the game. A little high-low game to Blair. The Jasons have still been unable to scratch. Either Keep, who managed one bucket, or Blair, who in traffic has had a lot of difficulty. Now Jason Keep will come back into the game. Lewis and Morris check out.
Well, Delzell, the guy who's going to initiate the out-of-bounds play here, is the chief passer. His job normally to get the ball inside to either of the two Jasons. Neither of them coming up strong right now.
Blair doesn't get the shooter's touch. Keep hacked underneath.
Well, he is strong around the basket. Weighs 280 right now. Was over 300. Went on a diet and lost some weight. Actually, a very good student also. Very impressive player. Earlier in the year, 30 points, 16 rebounds at Pauley Pavilion against UCLA. Before UCLA fell upon all its bad times, they were ranked 14th in the country at the time.
Jason Keep is one of those finds from a transfer standpoint, and this is not an easy school to be enrolled in, and you see what he's been able to accomplish on the floor. Second in the West Coast Conference in scoring.
Well, big numbers for him, both scoring and rebounding. First team all West Coast Conference, as is Jason Blair. 2 players from this squad on the first team all league.
Early in the year, his work ethic was questioned by Holland, and he was suspended for conduct that would not be taken by a Torero. And after that conversation, Keep got his act together, and Julius Barnes has his going from downtown.
Well, he's the leading scorer for this Stanford team. They're balanced. He and Childress 15 and 14.
Keep immediately double teamed. Harry S. is coming to the game, number 52 in white. Stanford 4 of 7 from downtown, make that 5 of 8. Barnes is just lighting it up, and the lead all the way up to 19.
Great focus on the part of Stanford in this game. Mike Montgomery's got his team ready to play. Solid at this end, causing havoc for the Toreros. Giving them nothing easy. That's the first easy play they've had the entire day. And rushing the ball up the floor, intensity personified by Mike Montgomery. They are a 4 seed, as you mentioned, 23 and 8 on the season. Mike is not a fan of conference tournaments, and they lost in the first round of the Pac-10.
Grunfeld not there. Pulled down by Blair, and Ted Valentine spots a foul.
You know, a lot of times, Tim, the teams that are highly rated in the country, losing in the first or second round of their conference tournament is not a big deal to them. Actually, sometimes I think it helps. It gets them a little bit of rest.
That is the 17th foul.
Arizona, as you know, a team that didn't particularly care for it. Lute Olson was bounced by UCLA in the opening round.
Jason Blair is 1 and
They were a 29-point winner today, but the truth of the matter is, I mean, I think it depends on the circumstances. If you're a team on the bubble, you need the tournament.
Oh, no
you
question
wanted
about
it.
that.
I think we've seen examples in the Pac-10 and the Big Ten where teams got in because of first-round wins in their postseason conference tournaments. But if you're Stanford or Arizona, and you're
Stanford
veteran
were second in the league.
Yeah.
Stanford was second in the league, so they were in no matter what happened in the NCAA tournament.
think your perspective changes based on the one-loss column?
I think the athletic director's perspective changes based on the dollar signs.
Exactly, the cash register. And I think the one and out aspect for a lot of young teams really helps mentally prepare you that this week you lose, you're on the bus. Next week, if you lose, you're on the bus for good.
Yeah, well, I think that loss maybe helped their focus.
Barnes, oh, not this time, but he has no conscience now. Delzell leaving it for Blair. Nice drive to the hoop. Strong move by Jason Blair.
Little up and under right there. Kirchhoffer not moving his feet, not used to guarding a guy away from the basket. Two substitutes in the post positions right now for Stanford. Zone defense on the part of San Diego. They do not use this very often.
Shot clock winding down. Barnes off the bounce. Keith gets the rebound for San Diego.
Time for San Diego to make a run right now. Only perimeter shooting in the game right now for Stanford. No inside guys.
That's an easy push-off on Kirchhoffer. Junior from Elk Grove, California. Played at Laguna Creek High School.
He is a hustling type post player. Both Little and Davis on the bench for Mike Montgomery, so inside scoring not available. Childress finally coming back into the game right here. Stanford has relied on their last several possessions on outside shooting, and they have not scored from there.
Nick Robinson has also come back into the game, replacing Matt Harries.
Well, Jason Keep, look at his big numbers right here. 62% from the field for the year and 9 rebounds per game. Extremely impressive. And he's strong and athletic and cut. He's the kind of guy who can wear people down, Tim, as the game goes on. In pretty good shape right now. Even though he didn't get off to a good start, he's got decent numbers right now.
Until Blair hit a couple of shots, San Diego's front court woes were very obvious. They were 4 out of 16 from the floor. Now they're on an 8-0 run and have cut the lead to 11. Stanford leading 29-18. Tim Brando, Bob Wenzel, Leslie Maxey here at the Spokane Arena, the Inland Empire of the state of Washington. Capacity 12,009 here at this new facility. Sold out for this first round action.
Change of defense on the part of San Diego at the timeout, Timmy. 1/2 court, 1-3-1 trap. Proves dividends. You get a turnover.
7 committed by Stanford. Travis Smith is in the game for San Diego, number 3 in blue.
San Diego has settled down. They've gotten the ball to Keep, which is where they want to get it right now. They are on a run. They got off to a bad start because of nervous tension. They're feeling comfortable now. Jason Keep, 6'10", 280. Use of the left hand deftly. When he is not double teamed, he is going to score or be fouled.
Rob Little gets the foul, his second. Keep is a young man that when he came in after transferring weighed about 300 pounds. It took him a while to get it down to 280.
Down to 280.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, he's cut too. He's a very muscular guy. They crowded him early and prevented him from getting anything. But when he touches it in there, and he does not get double or triple teamed, he's going to cause damage, and they are right back in it.
You know, this particular run, I think, embodies, Bob, what college basketball has been like all year long. Teams going long pockets of time, as you see Barnes ending the drought. A lot of teams go scoreless for large pockets of time in college basketball. 6-7 minute droughts, not uncommon in college basketball. Blair stepping out and hitting a tray.
Well, there is the other Jason. Jason Blair, 40% from three-point range for the year. 6'8" power forward, a tough matchup.
Loddick gets it down low to Little. Well contested shot. Keith was right in front of him. Travis Smith.
Everything going well right now for USD. Blair now on the inside.
He wants it. Little high-low game between the two Jasons. I know it's the 20th, but they're trying to make it the 13th with this run. 16-2.
No inside scoring at all for Stanford lately.
Barnes. And those shots that were quick and falling are now quick and
missing.
Exactly, and that's, as I said earlier, it's not in keeping with the Mike Montgomery style that we've come accustomed to seeing.
He is much more inside oriented, power the ball in, take your time, get quality shots. He cannot do that with this team because they're not as strong offensively inside as they have been. So as a result, Barnes, the guard, the leading scorer. Childress needs to get unseated a little bit here also. Matchup zone right here on the part of Stanford.
Belzell rejected by Childress. Run down by Barnes. San Diego scored 16 points in the last 3 minutes. They only had 10 in the first 11.
Pace of the game scoring again. Barnes and Loddick really carrying the scoring load right here. They're playing fast, getting the ball up the court, shooting it quickly. And at this end, inside dominance.
33-28.
He is tough to handle in there. You've got to decide whether you want to front him or play behind. If you play behind, you must double team. If you front, you've got to get help on the weak side on the lob pass.
Player control foul against Childress, and that's his second. That is significant.
Inside to keep. They tried to take the charge, but the man taking the charge was under the basket. So as a result, no call at all. Keep keeps his balance and scores.
San Diego has used 8 players already in this game. Travis Smith is still on the floor along with Delzell, Keith, Lewis, and Roy Morris, who's back out there with 2 fouls. Lewis off the double screen decided to take it inside and turn down an open jumper. He's 0 for 5.
He is a redshirt freshman.
Josh Childress. My goodness.
Nice answer on the part of Josh Childress. Not too much celebration after the play, though. Get back quick. That's what you want to see from good players.
No, he's not terribly impressed with that. Some of the fans are, we are, but he's not.
He's done it many times, I'm sure.
Out of bounds, control to the Cardinal. Timeout. The lead back up to 7 for Stanford. 3:51 remaining. Oh. Stanford leading by 7 here in Spokane, the first round of the NCAA Tournament. Saturday, first round coverage of the NCAA Women's Basketball Championship will tip off on ESPN and ESPN2 at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. That's just a couple of examples of what you'll be seeing throughout the NCAA Women's Basketball Championship.
San Diego's change of defense has helped a great deal. First zone, now a half-court trap. It's thrown Stanford off.
Childress was on the inline, so wave it off. Comes up gingerly. That's the 9th turnover committed by Stanford.
The perimeter guys are doing all the scoring for Stanford right now. Barnes has 13, Loddick has 9, Childress has 9. The rest of the team only 4. So the post guys not very much involved at the offensive end of the floor for Cardinal.
Well, Kirchhoffer's now back on the floor for Stanford in the interior along with Robinson. That's a very small Stanford lineup.
Well, Davis and Little, the 2 chief inside players, both on the bench with fouls.
Yet another turnover by the Toreros. Tell you, this Stanford team is perpetual motion. They don't waste any time getting the ball up the floor. They may have a sleight of size, but their quickness is surprising and sterling, really, when you consider the history of their program. Childress, what a quick release. Not this time. Pulled down by Keep. 6 rebounds for Jason Keep.
Well, opportunity really is available right now for San Diego. Stanford very much out of offensive rhythm, not getting good quality shots at the moment. They've got a 7-point lead, but this is the time where they can get it in to Keep.
Boy, he knows it. He's a little frustrated, too. He wanted Belzer to give him the ball. Now he finally gets it. But he's not at the spot on the floor where he wants to be.
Shot clock.
That's where he wants it, right there. And a forced shot by Morris. A very poor offensive sequence for San Diego.
They had an opportunity to get the ball to Keep early in the possession, and they didn't have an opportunity afterward.
Kirchhoff turns around, ugly shot. Check the backboard for a dent. Morris slapped away. Deflected by Stanford. Be controlled to San Diego.
A little smile by Morris. Brad Holland's guy thought he threw it out of bounds. Blair back in for Lewis. Those three guys, Blair, Keep, and Lewis, are the inside rotation for the Toreros, and a mighty good one. As you mentioned, beat Gonzaga in the final of the West Coast Conference Championship at their gym at San Diego.
The kind of win that also gets the community behind the school, and we talked a great deal about that with Brad Holland yesterday. Coming up on Singular at the half, Greg Gumbel and Clark Kellogg will get you caught up on all of today's scores and highlights. All coming up on Singular at the half. And we've had some narrow escapes for a number of high seeds today. Marquette, great matchup today in the 8-9 game between North Carolina State and California.
Those 8-9 games are really tough games. I played in one of those one time. I was coaching at Rutgers, and Arizona State beat us late on the three-point shot. And those kind of games tear your heart out. I'm glad we lost because we would have had to play Arkansas in the second game.
Yeah, that's the thing about the 8-9
game. Beat us by 50.
You know, I've had a lot of coaches through the years, Bob, tell me that they would really prefer being a 10 or an 11 seed as an at-large coming out of a power conference. So you're spent after you play an 8-9 game, and then you get a number one seed.
Get a number one. Yeah, that's the problem with that deal.
35-30 as Blair hits both.
Jason Haas at point guard right now, Tim. Played a great game against Cal in the regular season at Stanford. Was not thought to be a guy who was going to play a great deal, but composes himself very well. Stanford holding tight with their two post players on the bench with fouls. There's a D by Belzer.
A pick. Blair, by the way, has been a real factor. That's going to be a push on Haas against Dalzell. First foul against Jason, the freshman from Pennsylvania. I was going to mention Blair. 11 of his 13 points for Jason Blair have come in the last 3.5 minutes.
I'll tell you, he was cold early. He made 2 plays to the basket, didn't get anything, and then since that time, you know, he's versatile, Tim. He goes outside, he's made a 3, he puts the ball on the floor and drives by big people, and then he can post up. So he's a tough guard for most teams. It's hard to guard him with a power forward.
Here's our tournament summary. Look at the average margin of victory for number 1 seeds. Huge early on.
What you would expect.
Yeah, Holy Cross again. Very much in it as they were to Kentucky, you recall.
And Kansas the year before.
And Marquette takes them out this year. Of course, the Golden Eagles happy to get past round 1.
Pac-10 2-0 so far. Stanford would like to make that 3-0.
Hey, this is as close as this game has been since it was 3-0 to open the game.
It's nice to see. You know, you get many blowouts, even with 4-13 seeds. Both of these teams from California, they know each other well. Players know each other well. Not too much of an intimidation factor because of the Pac-10 against the West Coast Conference.
A little bit of a chip on the shoulder, perhaps, of the West Coast Conference against the Pac-10. Playing a little for your league as well as for your school.
And also Stanford wise enough to know that this is a good team because they're familiar with Gonzaga.
Loddick pulled down by McGrain. 1 second differential between the shot clock and game clock.
Stanford is living and dying by the three-point and outside shot, Tim. Early they were going. They got a big lead. They have not gone since, and as a result, San Diego right back in the game.
Well, Keith really wants the ball, and they're not triggering the pass into him.
Well, Kirchhoff are doing a good job being physical with Keith.
There's Blair on the pop-out. Generally, he attracts attention. Dalzell. Keith will be called for the push.
Well, that's a frustration foul on the part of Jason Keep. He wanted the basketball and tried to get it on an offensive foul. Brad Holland counseling his point guard. Dalzell is the guy who he says turned this team around. And even though he's not a point guard, he's serving that function. Keep and Jason Blair get all the pub, but Dalzell is the guy, he's the glue kind of player.
Belzer leaves, and Smith comes in for Belzer. San Diego on quite a run to close out this half. Barnes at the buzzer. And the Toreros much like their bullfighter moniker. Down by 19 at one point, roll back into this game. They were down 29-10, trail now by only 3, ending the half on a 22-6 run over the last 9 minutes. Let's go to Leslie Maxey.
Coach Montgomery, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. You guys got out quick on that 3, but you went cold towards the end. What's your approach going to be in the second half?
Well, we completely lost our inside game. We got both our guys with 2 fouls, and then we have no inside game. They're playing a 3-out zone, and we're just passing spot to spot and shooting wild shots. We got to get back and get the ball inside. The zone hurt us, but we got to do a better job, and we got to be smarter. We never did get in the one-on-one. They shot foul shots all night long. We got to quit fouling, and we got to establish an inside game.
All right, get with you guys. See you in a little bit.
All right, Leslie. Coming up, halftime activities with Singular at the half. Greg Gumbel and Clark Kellogg in our New York studios. Stay tuned.
CBS Sports presents Singular at the half. Singular's wireless polling allows you to get into the game.
Welcome, everyone, to Singular at the half, and welcome back to our studios here in New York. Greg Gumbel, along with Clark Kellogg at halftime. The Stanford Cardinal, 35-32. This looked like a blowout early on.
They had a 19-point lead, Greg, did the Cardinal, but because they got impatient and really didn't throw the ball inside and got soft defensively, they let that lead get away. You want to make a team work to get back in it. San Diego didn't really have to work that hard.
The winner of this game stands to take on the University of Connecticut Huskies, and right now it is just a 3-point lead for the Stanford Cardinal. In Spokane earlier today, BYU and UConn.
The big fella, Emeka Okafor, doing work. The game was tied at 26. Then early in the second half, the miss, but Okafor continuing the battle. A 2-point Huskies lead there.
Ben Gordon drives, makes the tough bucket, and the Huskies solidify their win after the game. Jim Calhoun.
We got a 14-point lead. Then we got a little too cute on offense and had to kind of hold on a little bit. But they're a really good basketball team, and I'm really proud of my kids. I thought we did a terrific job defensively. And then we had a guy named Okafor who kind of makes a difference inside.
He did make the difference. The 5th seed UConn Huskies in the South win at 58-53. In Salt Lake City, Vermont and top seed Arizona in the West.
Luke Walton, a big 3, gives the Wildcats a 15-point lead and just too many weapons for Arizona. Jason Gardner finds Channing Frye 2 of his 12 points. The lead was 19.
Salim Stoudemire drives the baseline for 2 of his 18 points. Arizona in charge. And then Andre Iguodala connects with Hassan Adams. After the game, Lute Olson on playing Gonzaga.
Gonzaga is a very, very good team. That's obvious. They're very strong and physical inside. You know, they've got guards that can do things. They're just fundamentally really sound. I think Mark and Few and his staff, they do a great job every year.
80-51, the Wildcats are a winner, and they move to 26-3 on the year. We mentioned Gonzaga. The Bulldogs defeated Cincinnati 74-69.
They'll have an 11-point lead after this fine Blake step inside to Corey Violet, 69-58.
Tony Skinner will come up with the block on Tony Bobbitt's 3-point attempt. Gonzaga holds on. Here's Gonzaga coach Mark Few.
We preach all year that free throws can win you games. And I thought our guys did a good job of attacking the basket and putting themselves in position to earn free throws. And luckily, I mean, we dodged a bullet there at the end because Cincinnati showed a lot of heart and not giving up, not quitting.
74-69 is the final score as the Bulldogs advance to meet the top seed in the West, the Arizona Wildcats. A timeout here, and Singular at the half will continue with more scores and highlights in just a moment. Welcome back, everyone, as we continue our check of the scores. Best game of the day took place in Oklahoma City, where California's Golden Bears outlasted North Carolina State in overtime. Kevin Harlan with the call.
This is for the lead. Oh, right between the eyes. Scooter Sherrill has put State on top, 74-73. Ship at the other end. Double team. Midgley for the lead. Oh, spectacular shot. 3.9 seconds to play. Cal by 2. It's Powell, Sherrill, and Cal wins.
Richard Midgley, the man of the hour for the California Golden Bears. In overtime, they knock off North Carolina State by a score of 76-74. That last basket was Mr. Midgley's 9th, 10th, and 11th of the day. Almost anybody can turn up a hero in the tournament.
Exactly, and you never know where it's going to happen, but Joe Shipp kind of carried that California team up until that point, and you need somebody else to step up and make a big shot, and Midgley did.
All right, Clark, so California advances to meet Oklahoma. The Sooners defeated South Carolina State today by a score of 71-54. Take a look at the highlights.
Take a look, Blake Johnson with the, that crossed me up there. That was supposed to be a steal on the layup, but instead, we've got a flush by Johnny Gilbert.
And D'Angelo Alexander had himself a big day as well, although there's the steal in the bucket for Oklahoma. In fact, the Sooners really led from start to finish in this game.
They did. Once they got themselves in rhythm, they pulled away quite easily.
So Oklahoma, the top seed Sooners, knock off South Carolina State by a score of 71-54. If you have a worry, if you're a Sooner fan, it's Hollis Price, who left the game with that sore groin and did not return.
Well, because his game is predicated on quickness and being able to get where he wants to on the floor, you've got to be concerned because that's a slow healing type injury. Certainly Kevin Bookout, who didn't play much today either because of the throat, that's got to be a concern going ahead to against California.
So in the East, it'll be Oklahoma advancing against California on Saturday. Now in Indianapolis today, Southern Illinois and the Missouri Tigers, and we'll pick it up with Missouri.
Arthur Johnson had a huge game. 2 of his 24 points right here as he just stays with it. It's a 3-point game, Missouri on top. Then Southern Illinois' Darren Brooks finds Jermaine Dearman, who gets it done. They led at that point, 62-58.
But Ricky Paulding helped Missouri take over. He had 19 points, got the drive in the bucket there, and then Kent Williams' shot comes up short. Quinn Snyder awfully relieved.
Southern Illinois is a heck of a team, and they deserve to win that game just as much as we did. We were fortunate.
Quinn Snyder's absolutely right. They'll advance to play Marquette. And the thing that you and I talked about this game is that both of these teams showed a lot of heart, and the way they came down the stretch in the regular and postseason, they both deserve to win.
Exactly, but it comes down again to being able to make a play. Arthur Johnson was basically unguardable inside, and Missouri lucky to overcome 23 turnovers.
So the Tigers move on to face Marquette. The Golden Eagles a winner today in the first game in Indianapolis, knocking off Holy Cross by a score of 72-68.
Tim Zatko inside. Holy Cross has a 3-point lead after that bucket.
Marquette guard Travis Diener had 29 points, 5 of 9 from behind the 3-point line after the game. It was an emotional Marquette coach, Tom Crean.
I worked for Ralph Willard for 5 years, and I have a lot of respect for him. I mean, I'd have nothing in coaching without him and Tom Izzo and the coaches I've worked for, and it's too difficult to put into words.
So how's this matchup on Saturday? The Marquette Golden Eagles, with a victory over Holy Cross, they will face the Missouri Tigers. Here's what's coming up this evening in prime time. CBS Sports brings you 3 games out of the West, with Western Kentucky against Illinois, Arizona State against 7th seed Memphis, and Central Michigan goes up against the Creighton Blue Jays. And out of the Midwest, Weber State takes on 5th seed Wisconsin. Where will we be coming to you this evening? Check your CBS local station at the top of the hour at 7 o'clock, and we'll let you know. Thanks for joining us here on Singular at the Half. Second half coming up in just a moment.
CBS Sports presents Singular at the Half. Singular's wireless polling allows you to get into the game. CBS Sports exclusive coverage of the Men's Basketball Championship is sponsored by Chevy Trucks, IHOP, the United States Army, and by Michelob Light.
We're at halftime here in Spokane, Washington at the Spokane Arena. 35-32. Stanford with a 3-point lead along with Bob Winslow, Tim Brando. I got to tell you, even though there was a nice run made by San Diego at the end of the half, Stanford's really shooting the ball well.
Well, they're really shooting the ball well from the outside. That's part of their problem, though. They got no inside game because their guys are on the bench. Early in the game, Childress was terrific. Free throw shooting is the big difference. 11 for 13. The 2 Jasons are 9 out of 10 inside. And of course the rebounding about even because we've got a fairly close game. Stanford unhappy even though they have a 3-point lead. Blair with 13, Barnes with 13, both leading their teams in scoring in the first half.
Moments ago, Brad Holland took time to visit with our sideline reporter, third member of our team, Leslie Maxey.
Coach Holland, did you remind your team of the championship game against Gonzaga when you guys were down in the beginning, came back and won by 9?
Oh, I didn't have to say anything. That's what it reminded us of. You know, we got back in this game because our zone was effective and we started knocking down shots and we rebounded really well in this first half, which is what we got to do this second half.
All right, good luck.
All right, thank you, Leslie.
Tim, the big thing inside for Stanford, their 2 post players got 2 fouls. They relied on outside shooting, and that's when San Diego made their run back in the game. The 2 Jasons, 25 points between them.
Davis, good defensive work by Blair. Keep corrals it. 7 rebounds for Jason Keep.
Interesting comment by Brad Holland about being behind against Gonzaga and winning in the conference tournament. Those kind of games are the ones that stay in your memory as a player. Gives you a little confidence, only down 3 to this Pac-10 team.
Barnes knows how to create off the bounce. Wave it off. Foul coming prior to that. Roy Morris picks up his 3rd. First Torero with 3 fouls.
Julius Barnes really is a 2-guard playing 1 guard. Last year, Chris Hernandez was injured, couldn't play. He would have been the point guard this year. So as a point guard, he is a scoring type of point guard.
Childress. It just hung on the rim. And he gives a little look to Jason Keep for him to keep.
Childress has that long arms. He's got some explosion. Plays within himself. And of course wanted to dunk that basketball, but took it hard to the basket. Keep got in his way, fouled him, but the ball went in anyway. A little visual contact.
Yeah. I am a competitor, and I'm going to give you the look. Talked about his...
Mike Montgomery at halftime was very upset with his team, Tim. Even during the interview with Leslie, you could see the intensity on his face. He did not get it inside, and he didn't like it. Now Little and Davis both in the game. They are their starting post players. Expect them to touch the ball. And defensively, they'll do a better job also. There you can see it right there.
A 29-10 lead at one point for Stanford, and at that point San Diego went off. Ted Valentine whistles a moving pick on Jason Keep, and I don't know about that one.
Right here, Jason Keep sets himself.
No, sorry,
that is
I don't buy that one.
Unwarranted call right there.
Yeah.
And that is his 3rd, which spells a little bit of a problem for Brad Holland. His decision will be to stay with Keep.
Barnes. Little on the offensive glass.
The reason that he got that was that Keep went out to challenge the shot on the screen. Nobody there to block him out.
Blair in traffic, goes duck under. Count it. Davis picks up the foul.
Davis played only 4 minutes in the first half, and now he's got his 3rd foul. Keep also with 3 fouls. It'll be interesting to see if Montgomery lets him stay in the game to try to let him get some rhythm.
15 in the game for Blair. Boy, he just wills his way to the basket.
He's a versatile guy, isn't he? You know, I mean, he's able to play outside, so you've got to put somebody quick on him. And then when you do that, he goes inside, and he's got very long arms for a 6'7" player. There's some controversy over how many fouls Keep has. He thinks he has 2. He really has 3.
Yeah, the thing about Blair is he's not necessarily pretty to watch, but his game is productive.
Very effective player, especially at the offensive end. He averages almost 17 and 7 boards a game. Shoots 41% from 3-point range, Tim, as a 6'8" power forward.
Very efficient. Little, baby hook on the baseline over Nick Lewis. Childress with a near steal.
They weren't getting any of that early. Mike Montgomery very happy right now about his team's play. They want to get the ball inside. Davis will remain with 3 fouls. Lewis in for Keep. Nice player at 6'10", but not the physical prowess.
Not the shot San Diego wanted in that sequence. A fall away from Delzell. That'll be a hold against Blair.
Well, you can see last possession, Little got a little jump hook inside, and now Davis posting up. Stanford looking to the inside with Keep on the bench. San Diego vulnerable in the paint.
Childress off the front iron. Runs down the long rebound. Blair saves it, but right into Loddick's hands.
Hot potato there.
What's the old saying in coaching? Throw it towards your basket.
Yeah, throw it to a guy with the same color shirt as you have.
Childress,
oh,
nice dish. Oh, that's a Sunday best dish on Thursday. 8 points this half for Little.
Well, Little's going to get a foul on that one. He just kind of got in the way. Very unselfish play. A curl play right here. He puts the ball on the floor. Easily had a shot, but dishes to his teammate. A pass from 5 feet to 3 feet. This is what it looks like if you're tall.
We talked about the familiarity with Wilkes facially, but the throwback hair.
Yeah, I like the he's got 70s hair.
Takes me back to the days of Coolidge on the White Shadow. 43-36, Stanford by 7.
Well, Stanford has established themselves like they did at the beginning of this game with the inside game with Little and Davis inside. They got away from it when those two guys got in foul trouble, but still had the lead. This is when they play the best with this group in there.
Little on the glass. And the foul spotted before he went up for the shot.
We've had examples of it the last 3 possessions. Little getting very much involved offensively, either receiving passes from Childress, getting passes and posting up, or going to the offensive boards. That's a lot of action in 3 possessions for one guy.
First foul on Nick Lewis.
Look at the difference in bulk with Lewis and Little right here, banging one another. About a 50-pound differential between the two.
Loddick. That went over the top of the backboard, so the ball automatically given to San Diego.
You know, those kind of shots are not bad, even though Mike Montgomery didn't like it. They're not bad shots when you're also getting inside game. But when you're doing that exclusively, then that spells trouble for Stanford.
Blair sets the pick for Delzell. 9 rebounds for Childress.
He is second in the Pac-10 in rebounding. Can you imagine if he weighs 20 more pounds, what he'll be?
Nice pass. Again, Childress inside. Little able to produce.
Quite a name for a guy his size, huh?
Out of bounds, it belongs to San Diego.
We have a timeout on the court.
Little only had 2 points in the first half. Now he has 10, 8 of them this half. Stanford's lead is up to 9. You can follow each game of the NCAA tournament on the internet. For more information on how you can watch March Madness from your computer, just go to ncaasports.com. Tim Brando, Bob Wenzel, Leslie Maxey here in Spokane. It's lovely here this time of year, isn't it, partner?
Childress likes it. He's running up and down the floor, having a good time, making some dunks, making some passes, showing his varied abilities on the basketball floor.
Spokane is the largest city in the northern United States between Seattle and Minneapolis.
500,000, very good. I like your geography lessons. It takes a long time to get here from Ponte Vedra, Florida, I'll tell you that. But it's beautiful country, it really is.
Blair with Robinson on his pass.
A square up shooter. After a timeout, that is exactly what you want. They are not going away.
You know, that's one of the few buckets that San Diego has gotten off an assist all day. They've only had 4 baskets off a pass.
Most of their scoring is coming from the foul line.
Yes.
Keep has been out for a long time, and in his absence, Jason Blair really stepping up. But they need somebody else here, you know, to close the gap. Someone else must get involved offensively. Look at this.
Blair fights by Robinson, kept alive by Lewis, and that foul will go over the back on Nick Robinson.
But you give credit to Blair on that one too. Last possession he shoots a 3. This time he ball fakes and goes around his man, and Lewis gets an opportunity for a tap in. This guy has game.
He gave the foul to Lonick rather than Robinson. Could have been on either. And the way things are going, you know, my guess is the way Blair is playing, Lewis has been pretty effective.
Well, he is, because, and the reason is that Blair can create off the dribble. Lewis's man comes to help, and then he gets an opportunity to go to the glass. It's interesting that Brad Holland is keeping Keep out all this time. He is their main man. I think his thinking is that they're staying close enough without him, try to get him rest. He's got 3 fouls, keep him out for as long as possible.
Well, think about it this way, Bob. With a player like Blair who loves to drive to the basket, Keep sometimes takes up a lot of space.
Yes, Keep gets in the way
in
those kind of situations. But believe me, they're better when both of them are in.
Childress draining another trade from the wing. 14 in the game for Josh Childress.
He does everything well, only a sophomore.
Lewis, not this time. Blair keeping it alive. Well, what work ethic down there. Unable to convert. Now numbers. Lonick. Back to his man Barnes. Hung on the rim. And also the ball caught between the rim
Should be a technical
and the backboard. Well,
I don't think they're going to give him a technical right now. Maybe they're saying he was trying to protect himself.
Yeah, and I think he was. That I don't mind. Fans are responding negatively, but I think Ted Valentine had this one right.
Well, he hung on the ball on the rim. There's no question about that. And hanging on the rim is a technical foul unless you're protecting yourself.
Which I believe he was. But offensive basket interference was the call. And a foul underneath. Boy, Lewis is active, isn't he? Justin Davis.
He is quick and long for a 6'10 player, Tim.
I don't know that I've ever seen offensive basket interference called in that kind of play, but you can see that Coach Montgomery's not at all pleased.
Think, please.
And at Stanford, it's not a question that you can.
That's right. All these guys have high SATs, believe me.
Joe Kirchhoffer coming back into the game, replacing Davis, who now saddled with 4 fouls, will be forced to sit for some time.
That was problematic in the first half and will probably be so in the second half as well. Davis, their best inside offensive player, has not had a lot of minutes in this game. Kirchhoffer, okay defensively, likes to play the physical game, but offensively, a little bit of a liability.
Childress, an air ball, but Lonick right there, and missed one from point-blank range.
Too close. He likes it from 3-point range.
Lewis rejected, but a foul.
Lewis showing his ability to run the floor on this particular play at 6'10". Remember, he's a redshirt freshman. Got down the floor very, very quickly. Guy can run. He's got long arms. He puts on about 20 or 25 pounds. He's going to be a real force in the West Coast Conference. San Diego hanging tough, only down 7 right here.
This is his 3rd trip to the line in the last 45 seconds, and that may be the reason why Jason Keep is still on the bench. You know, I've looked over there a couple of times, and he's hanging in there, but about every 30 seconds or so, he looks at his coach for a long period of time, as if to say, you know, I'm ready now. Yeah, I'm a veteran. I won't pick up a cheap one. 48-43, 13 and a half remaining.
I'm sorry, Tim. As long as they hang closely, I think he'll be all right on the bench. And when he comes back in, the problem is Blair's going to get worn out playing this many minutes straight. Oh, man.
Childress with 16 as he hits the floater.
Childress really is a very interesting player to me. You know, he plays, he's got explosiveness, but he kind of floats around out there. Look at his block.
Blair rejected by Childress.
He is stronger than he appears to be. He was a McDonald's All-American in high school.
Pop out to Barnes off the curl. Grazing the iron. McGrain Morris, the jump stop. Blair again on the glass, keeping it alive for McGrain. I sense the crowd here because of the West Coast Conference factor, and because Gonzaga has already won today, that maybe some of the locals are rooting for the underdog, San Diego.
That's how it always is in NCAA tournament. The underdog always gets the crowd behind them.
Kirchhoffer with his first basket.
Brad Holland trying the zone again. It was effective in the first half, but not so much this half.
Lewis able to drive to the basket. Matt Loddick picks up the blocking foul, his second.
Foul is called by number 33, Matt Loddick.
Josh Childress is a guy who does everything for Stanford. He leads them in, he's second in scoring, leads them in dunks. He's a guy who passes the ball well. Check this out right here. Beautiful play to Little. He gets his teammates involved. He's also a good perimeter shooter. From three-point range, he's fine. He's okay from midpoint range. Does everything possible that a player can do at the offensive and defensive ends of the floor.
Nicknamed Extendo because of his wingspan and the ability to appear to be shot out of a cannon. A young man that got great speed and quickness. Jason Keep coming back into the game.
Well, Keep has rested a long time, so he should be fresh. And Blair will sit for a while. So what Brad Holland is doing, Tim, is he's rotating his two best offensive players. Doesn't have them in the game at the same time. You made the point before about how Keep could get in the way of Blair a little bit. So Blair's going to get his rest on the bench, and they'll play together in the end game.
Loddick feeds Childress a nice look. 18 in the game.
Second in the Pac-10 in rebounding as a 6'8" sophomore. Long arms, knack for the basketball. He's got 18 points and 10 boards in this game already. Fantastic game in Childress.
Kirchhoffer picking up the foul.
Could you say that Childress is like 6'10" with his hair? Would that be allowed?
Yeah. Well, and as I said, the nickname is Extendo. When you get those long gaits in a 94-foot style, he really flourishes in that style of game because he gets to places more quickly.
Yeah,
solely because of his body type.
His defensive prowess from the weak side is also very good. Guards his man and then comes over to block shots.
Mike Montgomery asked him a year ago, and you rarely hear this. He said, suddenly democracy hits a coach when he's not actually coaching.
That's in the offseason.
Yeah, in the offseason. He said, well, what do you think about your game, Josh? And he says, Coach, I'm not ready. I'm going to stay in school. I need to get bigger, get stronger. And comforting to hear from a phenom like Lewis in this day and time. Childress, an outstanding player, leading his Cardinal to a lead. You look at our game summary, the big story for San Diego, the Toreros staying in this game because of free throws.
19 for 24, 0 for 3 for Stanford. And the post players, Blair, Keep, and Lewis, 14 for 18 from the free throw line for the Toreros. So their inside game certainly very, very much and very effective in this particular game. They're going to try to stick with a little bit of a zone action, switching back to man, trying to cause confusion.
Loddick running the curl. That's his favorite spot on the floor, and Childress finds him easily.
This is a very difficult juncture right here for Stanford. Both of their post players are out. In the first half, this is when San Diego made their run. Both Little and Davis on the bench for Stanford. This is the time where if I were Brad Holland, I would get Blair back in the game and get my two best post guys in at the same time.
9 minutes gone by here in Spokane. A turnover by the Toreros.
Well, the offense right now is going to come from Barnes and Childress and Loddick for Stanford, mostly from the perimeter. Childress can get to the basket with the bounce.
Kirchhoffer with Keep on his hip.
That was double dribble.
Yeah, it sure was. Loddick not there, and that could be a foul against Keep, and if so, it's number 4.
That was called by number 43, Jason Keep. That is his fourth
That is a difficult sequence for Keep because, as you said, they missed a double dribble just prior to that shot being launched.
And that was a frustration foul on the part of Keep right here. Interesting decision time right now for Brad Holland. Is he going to leave Keith in? Apparently not.
Watch this.
Right here. You're allowed to dribble the ball, but you're not allowed to catch it and dribble it again.
How does that one get by you?
Good camera work there, clearly. I was thinking about if that was okay in international basketball, but it's not there either. I don't think anywhere in the world that's allowed.
Kirchhoffer at the stripe. This is a young man that shoots 57% from the floor and has a very interesting pregame ritual. You hear these superstitions that coaches have. Before every game, Joe Kirchhoffer listens to the soundtrack of the good, the bad, and the ugly. I think I may do that before each one of our telecasts the rest of the tournament.
Get you motivated. Yeah. Anything to keep you motivated. Kirchhoffer really kind of a guy who bangs around a lot in there. This is a discussion about who the foul was on.
That was the 6th team foul on San Diego.
They're taking the point away because it was the 6th team foul, a correctable error. So Kirchhoffer, although he took the shot and made it, it does not count. It was only the 6th team foul. The officials,
and of course,
thought that they were in the bonus.
7.
Yes, you have to have 7. So the officials, with a correctable error, made sure that they wiped off the basket, and we're back to play with Stanford leading by 8.
Well, Blair needs to take over this game, in my opinion, in terms of his abilities and what he's demonstrated in this game so far. Zone defense on the part of Stanford. They will try to go inside out, protect the inside as much as they can. Blair pops to the top, and he's open.
Wide open. 22 in the game for Jason Blair.
Can you say box and one? I don't know. I'll tell you what, he has been the guy for them in this game. 3-point shooting. Stanford much, much better.
Childress all the way to the hoop. That will be an offensive foul. Player control. Nice work by Lewis. Collecting the charge. Mike Montgomery agrees with John Heatley, who made the call.
Well, I'll tell you what. It looked a little bit like he was on the side of Childress on that particular play.
There's been some talk about college basketball looking to install the line underneath the hoop so that once you're under the glass and commit, it can no longer be a charge. But the rules committee, I think, will sit on that one until next season begins.
Well, the concept is if you take a charge when you're standing under the basket, it can't be a charge. It's a foul on the defense.
Foul goes against Nick Robinson. Second foul on him.
Number 21. Robinson, his second
right here, it's a little physical on the inside right here. Robinson throws Blair away. I think he faked it a little bit. Blair, very experienced player, knows how to get calls.
You talk about leading by example, too. He's one of those guys, true gym rat, that will stay after practice, shoot as many as 300 free throws, 300 3-point shots on his own time.
That's how you get good. He certainly is a good one. First team all conference, hoping to take his team to the next round of the NCAA tournament. A senior.
I think the interesting thing about it is so deceptive. You're not sure when he's going to shoot defensively.
He doesn't fit any profile either. Right. No, he's not a power forward. He's not a 3-man. He's just kind of a basketball player. Those are the best kind to have.
Lead down to 3 for Stanford. Just over 9 minutes to play. Barnes loses his dribble. Saves it out to Loddick. Long rebound Robinson, and he's bumped.
Nice hustle by Robinson. He's the kind of guy who gets a lot of the dirty work done on his team, goes after it at both ends of the floor. Kept a possession alive for Stanford.
Mike McGrain picks up the foul.
Mike complaining about Blair's last play. Felt like Blair took a flop and tricked the official into the call.
Let's take a look at our CBS Sportsline stat of the game. And look at that, the free throw line. Well, that's what's keeping the Toreros in it.
Yeah, that's the value of an inside game, which San Diego has in abundance.
Get complete tournament stats at CBSSportsline.com. On America Online, enter keyword CBS Sportsline.
Little is back in the game. Davis still on the bench with 4 fouls.
Morris. Out of Bonita, California. Bonita Vista High School. 59-56.
He was a football wide receiver also in high school. Capable of playing that in college.
Little baby hook again. Almost got the shooter's touch. Loddick saves it to Childress and gets it back. Well, Childress, every time he puts one up, you think it's going to fall. Or he'll give the rim every chance to accept it.
He has a high arcing shot. Very physical game on the inside. Lots of banging.
Belzer with the left hand. Taken down by McGrain.
That's where Childress gets a little bit outside of himself in those kind of situations. When you post him up one-on-one, that's the way you want to go after him.
This crowd of better than 12,000 is going to really be pumped up should San Diego tie or ever take a lead in this game. You can feel the explosiveness of this fan base here that they have. Some of them local, some of them fans of the Toreros. They've never led in this game. Shot clock at 6. Lewis in traffic. Foul by Little.
We got 2 refs calling 2 different things. One had a foul, one had the hand on the ball. The foul will take preference. You make the call.
All leather. All leather.
You don't get a vote unless you're wearing a striped shirt. Looks gray to me.
Beware of what I wear for the evening session.
Can't wait to see it. Lewis is an impressive player. Phoenix, Arizona. They redshirted him 1 year. Now in his freshman year. Shows the same kind of versatility as Blair, but not as good yet because he's much younger. Blair also from Phoenix.
Lewis already has 10, making 11 this half. He's sort of a Kyle Korver lookalike, the young man from Creighton. Those blonde locks bringing back the fight of the Toreros. San Diego once down by as many as 19, only 1 point behind Stanford. And don't forget, Saturday, first round coverage of the NCAA Women's Basketball Championship tips off on ESPN and ESPN2 at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, highlighted by Tennessee, and you see Georgia Tech and Virginia Tech getting together early on. All of that this Saturday on ESPN.
A lot of light blue in this arena. The Toreros fans really hooping it up. Justin Davis, the power forward for Stanford, has played 10 minutes. He's got 4 fouls and 0 points. He normally averages 11.
The game's best post players, Keith, Little, and Davis, all with 4.
Amen. It's been an aggressive game. 1-3-1, half-court trap. Shots will be available in the corner. That's a forced one.
Barnes, long rebound, Davis. Last touch by him. San Diego gets it in the hustle of Roy Morris, induced. The ball coming the Toreros' way. And you can see this crowd energetic. They've never led in this game. In fact, this is as close as it's been since the tip.
A little California pride going on in this one. San Diego and Stanford. Wow, who would have thought it? Probably San Diego.
Yeah. And that largest lead was 19 at 29-10. Well, Belzer may have gotten away with steps, did not convert. Nick Robinson clears for the Cardinal.
That's a fatigue shot right there.
Another hustle play made by San Diego. And the ball will belong to Stanford. He was on the inline as he was trying to get the timeout.
Stanford gets a little uncharacteristically wild in these situations. Talking to Mike Montgomery yesterday, he talked a little bit about his team. I kept reminding him about all his great wins against Arizona and all of that. And he said, yeah, and we lost to Richmond at home. And
He actually said
very aware of how good they can be and how not good they can be.
He actually said his team matched up so favorably with Arizona that, you know, he almost sounded, he didn't say it, but he almost sounded that he wasn't shocked that they beat Arizona at McHale Center, but, you know, most of the country was.
Yeah, well, I was, and I think a lot of people were, but I think he feels like different kinds of matchups require different things, and I think he feels like Arizona's a team they can match up with. It's a high-scoring kind of game.
Belzer got the foul, his second.
This is the guy that's been great for them today and all throughout the year. 18 and 11 in this game so far. 19 and 11 boards.
We spend so much time prior to the first round of the NCAA tournament, Bob, discussing seeding. And really, if you talk to most coaches today, in the last 5 or 6 years, where you're seated is not as important to them as the bracket you're in and how you match up against the collection of teams that you might play in the first 2 rounds.
And you know what? The other thing is you get to talking about that so much it poisons your team. You got to play the game whoever's in front of you.
Blair.
And he doesn't.
And a quality find again by Mike McGrain.
Justin Heap is on the bench, Tim. He is on the bench. They are doing this without their best player.
Look at that by Lewis on the overplay. That's the young man that hit 3 threes when they were behind to Gonzaga. It was Lewis that came in and made the critical shots that allowed that comeback to take place. He's done much the same today.
Amen. He had 14 points against the Zags in that victory. A nice screen, pass, and cut. 3 guys, coordinated effort on that basket by Blair. They're not doing it on their own. Enthusiasm right here. 6'10" long-arm player, Brad Holland's best team in his 9 years on the campus at the University of San Diego.
You know, you just look at Lewis. I mentioned he looks like Kyle Korver of Creighton, the outstanding shooter. They're tied at 61. He's now becoming a cheerleader. He's got that Valley Boy volleyball look. He was an outstanding volleyball player. Well, you hear the collective sigh, but an offensive rebound. The foul will go against Davis, and that's 5.
Hustling after the basketball is everyone. And of course, Davis inadvertently knocks his competitor out of bounds.
Boy, what a tough day for him. No points, 2 rebounds. And of course, Mike Montgomery has plenty of time to decide who he's going to get into the game. He's discussing the matter with his associate coaches.
Well, this is an attempt to ice the free throw shooter, especially in a critical time like this. But there's still a long, long way to go in this game. Obviously, the momentum is in the favor of San Diego as Kirchhoffer comes in.
Timeout call, Stanford.
Timeout called. Nick Lewis is leading the cheers. He's become the maestro of the San Diego comeback. An entertaining game here in the South region. Spokane, Washington, San Diego, and Stanford tied at 61. You see the foul difficulty. Davis the first to be knocked out. Lewis still urging on the crowd. Little has 4, Keep with 4 for San Diego, but that's been a non-factor due to the emergence of Nick Lewis.
Exactly. Lewis has played so well that Brad Holland finds him in a position of keeping his best player on the bench in crunch time. Very, very unusual. Free throw, differential, dramatic.
Yep.
At end-game situations, what position on the floor becomes the most important? The guards who handle the basketball. Right now, keep cheering his teammates on.
Finally, San Diego with their first lead, and listen to this crowd pick up their team.
Well, you predicted that that would happen, and it certainly has. Barnes, Loddick, and Childress are going to have to do the scoring.
Loddick.
That's not a good-looking shot.
McGrain gets the rebound off the deck. Sounds like a home game in San Diego now. A basket here, and they'll really explode.
At most neutral sites, the underdog is the one who gets the crowd for them. The unique thing, one of the unique things about this event.
Blair. That one was deflected by Kirchhoffer. That one was clearly deflected, but he got no help. The official, John Heatley, was asking for some help, but he got none. That ball was clearly deflected.
3-2 zone on the part of San Diego.
Robinson. Nice move by Nick Robinson.
The ball fake created the zone to move and gave him the gap to the basket on that particular play. Wise play by Robinson.
Shot clock winding down. Morris driving baseline. Right past Loddick, and he had no help.
As a matter of fact, Kirchhoffer acted as a screen as well for Loddick.
Stanford has one field goal in the last 7.5 minutes.
Not many has confounded them.
Yeah, not many touches for Childress until now. On the offensive boards, he saves it. What a marvelous play.
What a great play. Length of arms. Got that done.
Was that an extendo?
That was an extendo.
Barnes loses it on the deck. Timeout, San Diego.
Great hustle play by Belzer. The kind you want from that type player.
A one-point game here in Spokane. Tim Brando, Bob Winslow, Leslie Maxey. Jason Keep has come back into the game during the timeout. Mike Montgomery letting his club know that you've got to respond.
Sometimes huddles are technical and sometimes they're emotional. That particular one was emotional. Keep back in the game. So is Little.
Morris, the bank is open for San Diego in Spokane. 9 for him. Largest lead for the Toreros of 3. Another scrum.
Great hustle on the part of both teams. It's loud.
First time in the NCAAs under the Brad Holland regime. There's Keep. He's been on the pine a long time. Rejected by Childress. Stop and go. Barnes. Foul will go against San Diego. Keep was out of this game for 13 minutes and now just back in for the stretch run.
That is pretty remarkable. This is the guy who was first team all league. You're a leading scorer, you're a leading rebounder, shoots 62% from the field. And in the biggest game of his career, sat out a long time, and it's unbelievable how well they've done without him.
Let's take a look at our lineup tonight. Western Kentucky, Illinois. I love this Memphis-Arizona State game. You think of Chris Massey and the Ike Diagu, the big man for Arizona State that lives at the line to go along with Millage, the senior. Central Washington, Michigan, I beg your pardon, and Creighton. A lot of people believe the Chippewas can give the Blue Jays, considered by many the best mid-major in this year's field of 64, a run for the win. All of that later. Right now, here in the state of Washington, we have got a dandy. Our game reset, a 1-point lead for San Diego. Both teams with a full complement of timeouts and the double bonus with San Diego whenever fouled by Stanford.
Stanford changing tactics, going full court pressure. First time in the game they've done so. LaGrange going to have to handle the ball against Barnes' pressure.
Hey, Roy Morris has had a nice sequence, hasn't he, the last 4 or 5 minutes?
2 critical plays offensively and a good hustle on the defensive end. He is their 3rd leading scorer, and we haven't talked a lot about him in this game, but he's been solid.
Blair with the dump down to Keep. Takes it straight up. Stays with it, though, against the double team. Oh, the iron just downright rude to Jason Keep.
Oh my, and a foul on Morris. And that will be 2 shots because that is the 10th foul. Your best player gets point blank 3 shots and misses all 3. Look at the crowd of white jerseys around him. And notice how all the players go with their hands straight up to avoid the foul.
Bob, from a matchup standpoint,
wow.
San Diego has been a much better team with Keep on the bench.
Well, I'll tell you, they haven't for the course of the season, but for those 13 minutes he was out, as you mentioned, Nick Lewis played great.
Back in for San Diego.
Tied at 66. Stanford led by as many as 19, 29-10 in the first half. A late charge at the end of the first 20 minutes allowed San Diego to claw to within 3. They only got the lead for the first time 2 minutes ago. And now Barnes gives Stanford a 1-point lead.
And the big factor in the game has been the free throw shooting differential. Stanford has only taken 4 free throws in the entire game, 5 now.
Foul difficulty a concern. Jason Keep on the floor with 4. Quickly doubled. And again, you see how Stanford clogs the middle when Keep is on the floor.
Keep sat out for 13 minutes, and in his place, Nick Lewis, the freshman redshirt 6'10", played great. Blair flourished in that setup. Last 2 possessions, they've gone to Keep, and nothing good has happened. Interesting concept when your best player sits and your team plays well.
Certainly the decision for Brad Holland to getting back in was a tough one to make, and there's Little extending the lead. And that will be a question for Brad Holland at the conclusion of this game. Things were going so well, and then Keith re-entered, granted your best player, but on this day, Nick Lewis has been the straw that stirred the drink for the Toreros. We have a 1-possession game at the sold-out Spokane Arena in Spokane, Washington, game 2 of the afternoon session.
And we have a 13 seed in the San Diego Toreros and a 4 seed in the Stanford Cardinal. Pac-10 against West Coast Conference. Moments ago, it looked like San Diego had the game in hand. Keep was double-teamed twice, and they came up empty. Blair's been their best player.
Dalzell looks for Blair on the flare. Not this time, and Keep could not come up with the rebound. San Diego.
No foul here. Defense, force them to shoot over you and get the rebound.
San Diego has outscored Stanford by 13 when Keep has been out of the game. Childress gives it up to Loddick. Oh, that was what a foul.
The cushion they need. 6-point game now. Big difference.
Morris. These half-court sets have not worked well for San Diego. Dalzell gets this one to go. It's a 3-pointer. Timeout by the Toreros. He has 7, does Dalzell. Still a 1-possession game. You look at our game reset, both teams in the double bonus. Still 1 timeout remaining for San Diego. Tim Brando alongside Bob Wenzel. What an entertaining game we've had.
Oh, what a great game. The underdog, the team from the Pac-10, both West Coast teams going at. I thought for a second San Diego had it in hand, and then terrific defense by the Cardinal. Lewis back in the game. You've talked about the fact that Keep in the game has hurt them. Keep is out, Lewis back in.
Well, I certainly can understand why your best player needs to be on the floor. There's a quick foul given up by Morris, and I'm guessing that's what Brad Holland's response will be when asked about the lineup change and getting Jason Keep back.
It's a very difficult thing, Timmy. You know, you have a guy who's sort of the guy, dance with the one who brung you theory, you know, and he was a great player for them the whole year, first team all-league. He got in foul trouble, he went to the bench, and that's when they made their run and got a lead. Yeah. Now, do you put him back in? And Brad made the decision to do that. And when he did, he was doubled twice, and they got nothing on those possessions, and Blair was out of it. Yeah. So as a result, Blair didn't get the shots at the most critical time. Morris fouls out right here, who's made several key plays for them. So now it's going to be free throw situations.
Yep. Let's take a look at the brackets here. Connecticut already a winner today over Brigham Young University in a close-knit game won by UConn 58-53. Emeka Okafor really the difference in that game.
And these teams will eventually advance to San Antonio, where Texas is the #1 seed. They will have home court advantage in that particular situation.
Yeah, but many people believe Texas will have trouble getting out of the first 2 rounds. That
well, they play LSU, who's a hot team right now.
Or Purdue. The winner of that 8-9 game.
Purdue has struggled a little bit, but LSU has really played well down the stretch. Won 6 straight games going to Southeastern Conference Tournament. As you know, you live in that state.
They have a young man, Jaime Ureta, a junior college player that can give Thomas on the low post all he wants and then some. And then you have TJ Ford going up against a very good LSU backcourt for John Brady in the last month and a half.
TJ Ford is fun to watch. Free throws are going to be the story of this game down the stretch. Fitting that Matt Lodich is fouled. He was the one who made the 3-point shot to give them the 6-point edge. Now going to the free throw line to try to seal things up. The junior from Winnetka, Illinois.
68% at the line on the year for Lodich. Drains them both. San Diego, a 2-possession game. They need a quick one. There's Blair. You know he wants to take it.
Right guy shooting.
Pulled down by Barnes and a quick foul. That pocket of time shortly after Lewis left the game and Keep re-entered will be what the San Diego fans think about in the postscript of this game after they had garnered a 3-point lead. And I mention this only because statistically it does matter.
Well, there's no question about that. When Keep was out, they played a little bit better, and I think Blair flourished during that time.
Yes, he did.
I find it hard to grill Brad Holland on that one. You know, you got your best player, you put him in the game.
Sure.
It's the most critical game of the year. It's hard to argue with that decision.
Well, what a fantastic job Brad has done at San Diego.
Morris played a great game.
Many people believe
he's a senior as well.
Many people believe that Brad Holland is going to be one of those names for that UCLA job. He's been politically correct in handling it the last week or so. Now, more and more people will be asking him about that. Delzell, not there. Little, who has played big for Stanford, pulls it down. Childress with a finishing touch for the man called Extendo.
Well, the Pac-10 team escapes, but they were taken to the wire. San Diego Toreros, got to give them a lot of respect.
They led by as many as 19, did Stanford. San Diego clawed back and, in fact, got a lead of 3 points with just over 2 minutes remaining. But Childress and Lodich made some critical plays. That one by Lodich in the corner was a huge basket, and Childress found it.
Well, Childress found him, and he made the 3. That gave them the 6-point edge. But really, the double teaming of Keep in the end game by Childress and Little, forcing some bad plays, is really what gave them the edge. Childress, terrific game. Keep, of course, his last game as a Torero, and he had a great senior year. A lot still to come for Childress, only a sophomore, and quite a player.
How do you think Stanford matches up against UConn for Saturday?
Well, it's a very interesting game. UConn's going to try to make this game go fast. Stanford will try to make it a half-court game.
Let's go down to Leslie Maxey now with Mike Montgomery. Leslie?
Coach, this ended up being quite a nail-biter despite the lead you guys had in the beginning. Talk about that finish.
Well, we got off to a good start. I thought we were ready to play. I thought San Diego was nervous. First time in the tournament, and they came out a little tentative, and then they kind of figured out, hey, just a basketball game, and then they came on, they played very well. We just were really lazy. At one point in time, the foul shots were 26-2. It's just lazy defense on our part, but they gave us everything we wanted. They played very well. That's a good, solid basketball team.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate your time.
All right, Leslie, the Pac-10 is now 3-0 in the NCAA Tournament. As we take a look at the brackets in the South region here in Spokane, Stanford advances into Saturday's second-round game against the Huskies of the University of Connecticut. Should be an outstanding matchup. As you said, I think physically these two teams really do match up well against one another. Our Chevrolet most valuable players of the game, Jason Blair, 27 points on 9 of 20 shooting, and Josh Childress, a double-double for the star from Lakewood, California, just a sophomore, and he will be heard from the rest of his career. Add to that 5 assists and 4 block shots.
Well, in the next matchup, Emeka Okafor is going to go against the front line. It's going to be a great one on Saturday.
No doubt about it. Well, for Bob Winslow and Leslie Maxey, this is Tim Brando saying so long from Spokane, San Diego, a game opponent. You have been watching.